Hey folks, welcome back for some more Model 3 updates for this early November. And of course, you probably know by now that the third quarter financial call happened last night. So I'm going to give you some updates. But before I get into that, I really want to say a huge thank you to everyone out there who watched our deep dive on the Model 3 video. It certainly exceeded our expectations for viewership and comments. I mean, I can't even keep track of the comments. There's so many of them. So anyways, huge thank you. We feel very, very happy that it worked out that way. It exceeded our expectations. So anyways, if you haven't seen the video, I'll put a link in the video description. You can go and check it out. But you would probably know if you subscribe to this channel. So please make sure you subscribe and click the little bell icon so you get notifications. Anyways, with that, let's get into some Model 3 news for you. So first things first, well, we have a delay. Well, but it's not as bad as you may think. So let's dive into it here and kind of parse it a little bit so you understand what's going on. So the production bottlenecks for the Model 3 have definitely been confirmed to be at the Gigafactory. Now, the Gigafactory makes the cells, they make the battery packs, they make the drivetrains. So the cell production, which is really done by Panasonic, that's not affected, that's not the issue. The really issue really stems from the automated machinery that does the pick and place to build the modules that go into the battery packs. Again, just so you know, they take cells, the cells go into these bricks, which are called modules. Those modules, several of them go into the battery pack. So it's really the machinery that's used to put the battery cells into the modules. Tesla said that their supplier that they hired kind of dropped the ball a little bit, so they had to take responsibility for that. So they've decided to re-engineer a lot of that machinery, so that's what's really leading to the delay on that front. So they know where the issue is and they're working on it. So what that really means is that they've pushed the the production ramp out about 3 months. They also said that several manufacturing lines, such as the drive unit, the seat assembly, the paint shop, and the stamping, have demonstrated a manufacturing ability in excess of 1,000 units per week during burst builds of a short duration. And some other lines, such as the battery pack assembly, the body shop welding, and the final vehicle assembly, have demonstrated burst builds of about 500 units per week, and those are ramping up quickly. I have a couple of videos that I took from the Tesla shareholder thing, and you can check it out. 2 videos, one of them showing the welding process of the body, and the other one is the automated installation of the seats, the dash, and the all-glass roof done by robots. Quite fascinating. So having said that, Tesla said that they expect to achieve a production rate of 5,000 Model 3s sometime by late Q1 of 2018, so sometime in March of next year. Now, they had originally projected that they were going to do that by the end of this year, but because of the production issues, they pushed it off. Now, some of you have been checking your delivery estimator in the US, and for those of you who are early in the line, it looks like it's been pushed back about a month. So again, want to reiterate here, it's not like they're stopping Model 3 production. They're still building cars, just at a little slower rate until they can get these issues sorted out so they can really boost it up in the first quarter. So don't panic. Some of you probably still get a very nice Christmas present by the end of the year. The rest of us who are hoping for maybe spring, not going to happen. Again, placeholders are still in place for outside of the US, so like on my delivery estimator, it's still showing late 2018. It would surprise me that it would probably slip into 2019. So it's not time to hit the panic button quite yet, but again, those are placeholders because they really don't have an idea of where things stand at this point. And once they reach those production numbers, they should be able to revise those. So there's no sense in checking your delivery estimator if you live outside the US at this point, so don't panic yet. Then they said that they would provide us an update for fourth quarter Model 3 production sometime in early January. So we'll be able to get a better idea of where things stand at that point. Now, they said that they're really hoping to get to several thousand cars built per week by the end of this year, but they're just not going to hit that 5,000 that they predicted. Now, the other number that they had mentioned for some time, of course, they wanted to reach 10,000 cars per week sometime in 2018. Doesn't look like it's on the table at this point. It seems that they're backing off on that a little bit. They said that they don't want to spend any more money on tooling for the automation until they really start making money on the car. So they still intend on reaching 10,000 units per week, but it's not going to happen until they really reach a steady, achievable rate of 5,000 cars per week. So we'll keep an eye on this, but it looks like it might be really late into 2018, maybe into 2019 before they can reach that 10,000 number. So they also said that they would use that time to develop the next generation automation system to make it even better. And a little interesting factoid here that the automated production line doesn't lend itself to manual override, which they can't just take robots out or little stations on the Model 3 production line and replace them with people. because the large part of the cost reduction of the Model 3 is really the automation of building the car. So that's why they can't just take people, put them on a production line to help with the production ramp, because I know that's a question people are going to ask. It's a really big part of the cost reduction on the 3. So they have to get it right, and they have to get it done on time. So that's why they're spending lots of time to make sure that the automation line works properly. All right, so that's it for the Model 3 front. Let's get on to some good news. So in the third quarter, they delivered 25,915 Model S and X cars and 222 Model 3 cars. So a total of 26,136 deliveries, not production, deliveries. Keep in mind that there are still cars in transit going to other countries. Those will be counted in the fourth quarter. So for those of you who are asking about how does that affect the federal tax credit, shouldn't matter at this point, because some of the calculations are floating around for the federal tax credit expiring or starting to phase out, I should say. Maybe in the late first quarter, sometime in the second quarter of 2018, are already taking into account some of the deliveries that are going to be happening between now and the end of the year into the U.S. So it's not time to press the panic button quite yet. Elon also reiterated that the Model S supply chain from start to finish was really geared to 2,000 cars per week. And so the production efficiencies still continue on the Model S, but it looks like their run rate on the car is pretty much bang on, because that's what they kind of estimated over the last few years as the demand for the Model S. So that's working out quite well for them. They also confirmed that the recent changes to the Model S, meaning that they got rid of the rear-wheel drive and they put some more value into the Model S, was to really separate the Model S from the Model 3 so that they wouldn't have an overlap. So that's quite deliberate on their part. But they're also not done yet. We're going to see some more changes to the Model S in due time, probably in the first quarter of next year, maybe an interior refresh, that new computer system. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm certainly hoping for that for a lot of people, and that'll be quite exciting. Now, they also said that they expect to see even more sales of the Model S and the Model X in the fourth quarter of this year compared to the outgoing third quarter. So we should see some record numbers for Tesla. So that's all good news on that front. And Tesla also hit a pretty big milestone. They delivered 250,000 cars worldwide. Now, it's not just US, that's just worldwide since their inception. That represents 100 growth in the last 5 years. Now, they also mentioned, who would have thought that Tesla would go from 2,500 cars a year, that was the Roadster, to 250,000 cars in 5 years. So it wouldn't surprise me that in the next 2, maybe 3 years, they'll probably double that number one more time. And lastly, there was a little bit of talk about the China factory. Again, they're not ready to announce anything at this point, but they did allude that we're probably not going to see that factory for probably about 3 years, so sometime in 2020. They did mention that they expect to make somewhere in the vicinity of about 200,000 cars a year, maybe a little bit more. So to me, my opinion on this is that we're looking at a smaller factory than what we see in Fremont. But there was also no mention of a combined gigafactory, because if you remember some time ago, they said that any future factories could be a gigafactory and a car factory combined, but there's no mention of that. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see what happens. Now we have some autopilot updates because, let's face it, autopilot's a little bit behind schedule. Now Tesla said that their Tesla Vision, their neural network, was an exceptionally hard problem to solve, given that they had to fit less computing power than's typically used for these kind of things. So they also expect to roll out additional functionality over the next few months, and they're progressing to their goal of the cross-country drive, but they didn't mention any timeline. So it's not happening this year. They really want to get some of these features out before they do that. So that's what's going on that front. They did mention hardware, of course. They still believe to be able to achieve full autonomy with the current hardware set, at least at the human level. Now, Tesla's mentioned in the past that their ultimate goal is to get to 10 times better than a human. And they also said that in the near term, they want to reach twice of what a human's capable. But it seems they've backed off a little bit on that. So to me, that leaves room for some hardware improvements. Keep in mind, autopilot is not a finished thing. It's an ongoing thing. We're already at 2.5. There will be a version 3. There'll be a version 4. They also reiterated in the financial call that for those of you who have paid for full self-driving or are planning to pay for full self-driving, that should they need to upgrade the computers if they determine that the hardware is not capable of it, that they would do it for free. My opinion is full self-driving is not here today. I wouldn't spend money on it. I would wait until it's really here. Well, that's it for the updates. If we have any more between now and the end of the year, I will post them. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the little bell icon so you get instant notifications on these updates. So don't forget to follow me on Twitter. The handle's at Model 3 Owners. And you can register at our forum at model3ownersclub.com. We have over 10,000 members now of people discussing everything about the Model 3. And if you'd like to support the channel and keep things going, we'd appreciate if you take a look at our Patreon page at patreon.com/Model3 Owners Club. Anyhow, that's it for today, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. See ya.